Speaker recognizes Representative Camilleri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Permission to speak to the whole package? Thank you. I rise today in opposition to Senate Bills 303 and 304, a set of comprehensive voter suppression legislation disguised as enhanced security measures for our electoral process. Instead of making our elections fairer or safer, these bills seek to disenfranchise voters and make it harder for all of us to make our voices heard. These bills do nothing but attempt to widen the political divide between people who know that the previous election results are valid and people who won't accept reality. More than implementing unreasonable voter ID requirements, these bills would literally mean fewer people in Michigan would be able to cast their votes. They would require people who are registered and legally allowed to cast their provisional ballots and remove the option of filing that affidavit, meaning that their ballots would not be counted unless they jump through a series of hoops set out in these bills. Michigan already has voter ID laws, and study after study has shown that actual voter fraud and impersonation happens so infrequently that it's almost non-existent. And when people do commit voter fraud, they're caught and charged. Just this week, Secretary Benson and Attorney General Nessel announced charges in 3 cases. Out of millions of votes cast in 2020, the system works. Cheaters are caught. The changes put forth in this package have been opposed by voting rights and election officials across our state because of the unnecessary barriers to voting that they would add. These bills are creating more issues for voters, solving problems that don't exist, and ruining faith in our democracy. And we know that the negative effects of these bills would be felt most severely in communities that already struggle with representation. They would disproportionately impact people of color, students, the elderly, and people with disabilities. This is merely the latest attempt to severely restrict voting in Michigan, and it's something that we've seen across the country. It's an alarming trend based on a false argument invented by a bunch of sore losers who can't get over the fact that voters chose someone else. All the while, multiple independent audits have certified that this election, especially here in Michigan—
Representative, can you keep your comments to the merits of the bills, please? Thank you. Representative Camilleri.
This was the most secure election of our lifetime. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And as I predicted last year, today's bills are the product of last December's sham hearings in the House Oversight Committee that our first speaker spoke to as well, when taxpayer dollars were wasted to spreading the big lie about our elections. When Rudy Giuliani and his election conspiracy sidekicks came to our committee, they were given a platform to spread Donald Trump's lies to the American people. We knew that these unsubstantiated claims would lay the groundwork for the bills that we have before us today. Bills that would make it harder to vote and easier to cheat us out of our democracy. The committee was such a joke, in fact, that it became a national punchline on Saturday Night Live. Not only was this a waste of time and—
Representative. Speaker recognizes Majority Floor Leader Frederick.
Madam Speaker, I'd refer to House rules that prohibit the disparaging discussion of prior process in debate. Thank you.
Representative, I'm urging you to keep your comments to the merits of the bills. Thank you. Speaker recognizes Representative Camilleri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm just trying to tell the full story like other representatives on the floor here today. And so now, as we've had this groundwork laid for the bills before us today, we've had people who made an argument that have been discredited by the legal community. So we need to reveal what this legislation really does. It is an attempt to steal our constitutional right to vote and spread the big lie further. Michigan voters have had it with the attacks on our democracy. These bills before us today only continue to undermine the faith that people have in our election process. So I hope that you will join me today in voting on the side of democracy by voting no on this dangerous and unnecessary legislation. Thank you.